The next time I go out and a white person looks at me like this, I'm gonna look back like this. Keep your fake smile. Keep this, because I'm gonna look at you like this.
Okay, I just have one question, like genuinely. Are my tax dollars paying for your braces and eyelashes? It's easy for you to have that smug attitude because you're living in a nation that protects your basic rights. But if you went back to your very own Muslim country where Islam is law, and if you spoke out like this, you would get a beating. You are racist. And if you're not grateful to be here, or at the very least show respect to someone who smiles at you, you need to go home.
Go home. That's what it is. Now, I could honestly say this, y'all. I've never seen this level of racism towards white folks, man. I didn't even know, how did we get here? How did we get here? Even from my own people, black folks, my own people, man, the level of racism that I've heard, not just to white folks, but to their own people like myself, and you know what? Donald Trump has been, called all different types of names by black folks. When you think about people like Joy Reid, that was fired from CNN, now has her own show. When you think about her, you think about other people in black, I would say black media, like Roland Martin and Ricky Smiley, D.L. Hughley, and the list goes on. The comments they made, the level of racism that I've been seeing, whenever Trump is involved with something, it's just unbelievable. And I think when Donald Trump, during his first term, when he decided to run the first time around, we started to really see who's really who and what they really stand for and the principles and values they stood on. And let me tell you, it's the worst I've ever seen people treat someone in that capacity. Let's watch the next video.
I look at Donald Trump and I look at Netanyahu and I see two leaders who I think politically they benefit from war. Netanyahu is facing criminal charges for corruption back home. Donald Trump is facing very low numbers and Epstein files that are not, and we will not let go away.
I do think it's threefold.
Now, you see how they always call people out when it comes to criminal charges and this and that and Epstein files, but when Sonny Hostin's husband was caught up in those insurance, that insurance fraud or whatever he was doing, and had that RICO charge on his head, they weren't saying nothing. They were quiet. They were all quiet. They weren't calling him out. She was out there explaining and saying this and saying that, but guess what? He was involved in that. So how come he get a pass? Oh, she's on the show. We understand, but you're sitting there every day staying relevant because of the one person that you hate so much. It's only because Donald Trump is in y'all mouth every other time while y'all are staying relevant, or else y'all views would have been down and nobody would have been watching y'all. And that very same show y'all called The View would have been canceled a very long time ago. Let's rewatch.
I look at Donald Trump and I look at Netanyahu and I see two leaders who I think politically they benefit from war. Netanyahu is facing criminal charges for corruption back home. Donald Trump is facing very low numbers and Epstein files that are not, and we will not let go away.
I do think it's threefold. One, we have 47 million Iranian women who now have a hope of freedom. That's a good thing. Okay, we have an disgusting terrorist regime ended, and the people finally have hope to create their own.
So we're going to bring it back. She's a guest host on The View, and what happened is, they don't really like when you disagree with them, all right? So I'm going to bring it back so y'all could really hear how she shut him down.
I do think it's threefold. One, we have 47 million Iranian women who now have a hope of freedom. That's a good thing. Okay, we have an disgusting terrorist regime ended, and the people finally have hope to create their own nation again. Okay, so that's the hope. When we zoom out in political realm, okay, which is not my specialty either, but I have a ton of friends in the military who specialize in this. We see that this is actually avoiding a boots on the ground war with China when we are able to choke their oil supply, and the president and our military are exemplary in doing so right now. They've cut the oil supply from Venezuela, and they've now reduced it and choked the oil supply to China in Iran. And now what that does is presumably prevent China from having an absolute stronghold on the globe. So this is a strategic move geopolitically that we may not fully understand, but I absolutely trust that this is best for our nation, and we should be America first.
They're ready to come in and cut her off and butt in and say, well, because you know what? You can't make good points on The View if you're not agreeing with them. Look, let's watch this next video, because this woman in the middle, listen to what she said, and I can't believe this woman actually said that, but she said it. We're going to take a look.
It's like I am called a domestic terrorist constantly by my government. My president just stood at the State of the Union and said the Democrats are evil monsters who should be killed. If that person...
No, the president did not say that. Wait a minute.
Okay,
Wow.
Okay. He said, I will be accurate. Okay, Tim,
I'm
I will be accurate.
Yeah, the president never called for anyone to be killed.
Okay.
I just want you to be honest. I like you way too much.
Let me give her... Okay, my point is...
Let's give her an opportunity to correct what she said.
The American government...
Y'all heard what this woman said on CNN, y'all. Straight up line on the president on national TV, boldly making up stuff.
It's like I am called a domestic terrorist constantly by my government. My president just stood at the State of the Union and said the Democrats are evil monsters who should be killed. If that person...
No, the president did not say that. Wait a minute.
Okay,
Wow.
Okay. He said, I will be accurate. Okay, Tim, I will be accurate.
Yeah, the president never called for anyone to be killed.
Okay.
I just want you to be honest. I like you way too much.
Let me give her... Okay, my point
Let's give her an
is...
opportunity to correct what she said.
The American government is
But
already...
he didn't
He
say
did not
that
say...
they should
He said we were the enemy and we were terrible. Would you say that that is fair?
I think he did say, he went to the Democrats and said these people are crazy, but Lee,
He said
I like
they-
that.
they-
But he's right.
You cannot say the president of the United States called for
Correct.
him I was being hyperbolic and I
Well,
apologize.
you have to be accurate, not hyperbolic.
Go ahead.
Okay. Because we have to go.
My
Now she was being hyperbolic. This is how they create these narratives and put words in the president's mouth, and they spread it. This is what they do, y'all.
What a lunatic. That was absolutely insane. And that's what they do. This is nothing new. And I'm glad that dude called her out, but I wish he didn't, because I wanted to see what Abby Phillips was going to do, because you already know every single time that Abby disagrees with a conservative, she immediately cuts him off and interjects. I wonder if she was going to do the same thing to this woman, which I highly doubt. But you notice what she said. I was being hyperbolic. Well, yeah, no shit. That's what you do. Every single thing that they accuse Donald Trump of doing is some exaggerated claim that they made up in their head. That's it. Every time. Trump being a racist. Trump is going to be a dictator. Trump is going to steal the elections. Trump is going to steal or take your women's rights. Trump is a pedophile. Trump is going to start World War III. Literally, every single claim is an exaggerated claim that they've made up in their head. And that's the only thing that they have. The Democratic Party, the Democratic platform, as it stands today, stands on ignorance and fear and Trump derangement. If they don't have any of these things, if they don't scare people into thinking that the democracy is going to be stolen and Trump is going to start a world war and he's going to take your elections or your rights, they literally don't have anything. They don't talk about policy. They don't even talk about how great the Democratic Party is. They only talk about how Donald Trump is the enemy every single time.
Yeah, how bad Trump is. That's all that's their fuel. Most of these people I've never heard of in my entire life. There are some people that I heard of because they were on legacy media, like, Don Lemon, he was on CNN for a while, and other people, Joy Reid. I knew about Joy Reid, but her career, elevated when she started to say any and every negative thing about Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is the one that put a lot of these people on the map and gave them visibility by talking about him. That's it. They have absolutely nothing else to lean on. And the reason why I don't even watch that show with Abby Phillips is because she's so far left, y'all. Far left. And she's not a good mediator. You know, like he said, the second you start making a good point concerning Donald Trump or the conservative party, she begins to cut you off. And I've seen her continuously cut off Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings is big time. I don't know how the hell he ended up on that show. Scott Jennings? How in the world he allows Abby Phillips to talk to him in such manner? And you know what? I just don't watch it. When I began seeing the disrespect towards Scott Jennings, that's when I was like, man, I'm not watching, because I used to, you know, check it out here and there, but I noticed a pattern when it comes to Abby Phillips. And I just said, you know what? I'm not going to watch that. And now I've seen clips here and there with Mr. Wonderful, you know, on it. Come on, man. Like, you're too great for that. But look, if there's one thing you will learn and know about, you know, the Democratic Party and the liberals, is that they have no substance and their world is revolved around Donald Trump. That's it. If you're here for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button, show me back some love, and hit that like button, and also drop your comments down in the comment section. I will be reading and participating with y'all. See you in the next video. My phone is ringing. See y'all in the next video.